Yup, your boy's back. Welcome to another Real Estate Lunchbox. It is me, Leon Duncan. I am your real estate agent for today. Man, 12 years. 12. Oh, shoot. Freak. Where did that come from? 19 years in the business? Let me take this hat off. I think the hat is doing it. The hat's probably doing it. You know what a hat is doing it? Y'all want to see the Rebuy Houses hat? I'll put that right here. All right, cool. I don't like the way it makes me look. Either way, at least not right now. You know, when you get your hair cut, man, you try to have that joint flex for a little bit. You ain't trying to be out here with a hat on. That's the worst. I wear a hat when I'm not doing real estate. You know, when my hair is not looking good. Yeah, guys, we gotta have good looking hair too. Let me go ahead and check, make sure that I got all of these pieces. Dude, we're gonna have a fun. I got an interesting show today. Couple different things we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about this real estate market, of course. Why? Because it's not a real estate show. It's really a culture show. Yeah, we really talk about real estate, culture, news, politics, all kinds of things. Anything that I really want to talk about, we're gonna talk about. Yeah, Leon, I saw you had the banner. It says, "How do I sell my house?" Just sit back. We're gonna talk about how to sell your house. We're gonna talk about it. You know why your house isn't selling, Leon. I need to know why my house isn't selling. Okay, cool. Sit back. I'm gonna tell you why your house isn't selling. So just relax, chill out. We're gonna talk about that. I like to get feedback with this. We're gonna talk about what other agents are saying. Then afterwards, I'm gonna tell you what I think and what I believe. 99% of the time, based on this current market. But we're just not gonna talk about that. I want to talk about Chad O. Jackson's new documentary on Martin Luther King. I also want to drop by and tell you, oh man, the COO for the High Museum, Atlanta, 600,000 stolen, missing. He on the run like Nori. No, he not. Homeboy, I mean, I wouldn't suspect it from that place. But before we even get all that going, I'm going to tell you, I turned around and I canceled some of my trolls. Like when I say cancel, I blocked some of them. I kept some trolls around. Now, I'm going to tell you why I call these people booty scratchers. I don't call them trolls. I call them booty scratchers. Because they scratch their booty and they smell it and they think that it's actually that good and they don't realize they stink. They don't stink. But you know, I've had people that came off like booty scratchers and they really cool people. No problem. But then I've had like real booty scratchers. I'm talking like these, like legit. I'm like, dang, that's a booty scratcher. All right, cool. So before I get into telling you, Leon, you're like, how everybody's on the net. And if you're online, you deal with trolls. We're growing. I think I'm close to about 2,000 subscribers right now, adding on 600 to about 700 subscribers every 30 days. It's true. I've only been knocking this out since November, consistently with this format of what I wanted to actually do for you guys. Now, before I even begin this, listen, I got two things for you. If you're an agent and you're trying to actually get into the side of buying houses or working with investors that buy houses, check this out. Go ahead and download a PDF. Cool little PDF. I put it together as a blueprint. I use that same PDF to sit on my couch and to make real estate deals, doing 5 to 6 real estate deals per a month, and then scaled it to about 10 to 15. Listen, I love doing this type of deals, working with investors, so I put together all my little tips on how I actually do it, and it's in that PDF. You can download it. And if you want to get hold of our off-market property list, you can download that too. That's available. All you got to do is turn around, put in your information. Every Friday, you'll get one of the off-market property lists. And if you haven't been getting the off-market property list, you're going to be getting this. No, I don't know. No. Check your spam. Check your spam. But man, check this out. So you know your boy's always dealing with trolls. I'm always dealing with trolls. Since I started this out in November, I've been dealing with haters. Not on YouTube. YouTube, you guys are beautiful at YouTube. It seems like my videos land around the tribe, and the ones that just find me and they want to say something. I mean, how do you say something about me in the real estate business 20 years and I'm telling you the truth? And you're like, no, it's not true. Negro, it is true. Listen, and that goes both ways. Niggas is true. Black, white, Indian, y'all all niggas. It don't matter. It's true. Okay? And that's not, it's not, it's not just for black people. Trust me, it's for all of y'all. Because there's an attitude that goes with it. A lot of y'all got it. Look, first 6 minutes, I'm already offending people. But real talk. So, how do you even deal with these trolls? And I started flipping. I said, how do you deal with trolls? How do you want to deal with, how do I want to? Because some people I did not want to block. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of my content, I get it great from trolls. They'll say some things and I'm like, oh, let me go research that. Then you find out that their stupid comments and ignorance brought you up to a place of actually learning something, not about what they said, but because they were stupid. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look, I love it. I love it. So what do we end up doing? We end up blocking them because I'm gonna tell you, I'm of the belief that there's a privilege in actually being connected to just blocked another one. But bro, it's necessary. Come on, run this right now. Go.
Yeah, that's
Are you scared of what other people think?
It's in everybody
You
mind.
care what other people think or you don't?
Oh, good question.
See, like when it comes to the internet, sometimes I care, sometimes I don't. When it be like a lot of people saying the same thing, I just cuss them out.
You just cuss them out and block them.
That's the way to succeed.
It look like you know what it is. The internet, they be trying to hurt your feelings.
Yeah,
they be trying they be trying to break. Yeah, and then like they want to be comedians too, so they want to say some more. Try to, but just think how much time it takes.
Some people, they think they funny, bro. Half the time, y'all not funny. You know you're not funny because you come into my shit to actually talk smack, but you ain't got nothing. You ain't making.
I'm gonna look up something to compare you to.
to
Just so
break me
one, and then
down.
you know in your heart you would never do this, even if you
Exactly.
wasn't like, if you wasn't even who you was, you would never sit and be like.
Somebody told me this in a hard place, and I wanted to share this with you. Let's get into it. Let your character outlive their lie. I know it is in our human nature to defend ourselves. I know it's hard not to. Trust me. I know how it's like literally fighting yourself. Because human instinct is to write the record. Human instinct is to prove people wrong about you. But I've learned that some people aren't open to be proven wrong about you. They've been waiting for the opportunity to hear some negative information about you in order to justify their unjustified disdain for you. Believe it or not, the most effective way to deal with this, to deal with naysayers, is to not play defense attorney, not seek vindication for yourself. God is your vindicator. He will write the record for you in ways that you never could. Family, focusing on chasing purpose, using that energy as fuel to become better, more committed to accomplishing your goals, becoming exactly who God created you to be. Your character, your fruit speaks for itself. For those who want to see it, those who don't, won't. Make peace with that. Let them see what they want to see. Let your character outlive their lies.
That's cool. That's cool.
There are 3 steps to deal with the trolls and the naysayers and the critics in your life. We think of trolls as social media, and they're bad there. I get called names all the time. But you're going to have critics and naysayers and trolls in your real life.
You know, and it's always the people that don't have a picture. When you don't have a picture and you want to insult me on my YouTube or either on my Facebook, let me tell you something. You will be blocked because cowards don't have pictures. Cowards say things and they don't have pictures. They don't. I invited a troll to debate a topic, never answered. Never answered. What he's saying is right.
Too, anytime you try and do something good, there's going to be people that try and bring you down. Step number 1, ask them if they're smart enough for you to bother listening to. A comedian once said that take your average person and realize that half the people you meet are dumber than that. And it's true. And I'm not talking just about smarts. I'm talking about have they taken the time to become educated about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to say. And if they haven't, then why take the time to bother to listen to them? I can't tell you how many people make a snide comment to one of my videos about something that's answered somewhere in the video because they haven't taken the time to listen to it. And you're going to have people that criticize you and what you're trying to accomplish in life when they haven't taken the time to understand. The second thing is to ask what their motive is. If their motive is to help you, that's great. But if their motive is to make themselves sound smart or to attack you to make themselves feel better, they're not interested in trying to help you. So why would you care about somebody that's...
I call it clout chasing. They just trying to chase clout off of either your trending video or your likes that's there. They want people to see them. Most of the time, these people need attention. You got to realize we live in an attention-based society, and some people are deficit of it. They don't get attention at home. So, damn, they try to find attention on the internet. Facts.
Trying to meet their own agenda rather than help you. They're trolling in order to manifest an internal need that they have. And no matter what you say, you will never be able to persuade them because it has nothing to do with you. It all has to do with what's inside them. So don't waste your time. Step number 3 is you have a superpower. You have the right and the ability to decide whether you listen to them or not. Now repeat that. You get to decide who has the power in that relationship because you get to decide whether you pay any attention to them. And if they're in those first 2 camps, if they're in the bottom half and they're not really there to help you, then just ignore them. Don't try and persuade them in a vain attempt to try and get their approval. Don't let them get under your skin. Be nice to them and just smile and move on. Don't dignify them with a response because they don't deserve it. They're not trying to help you. But there's a corollary to that last little bit. There is a small group of people who know more about you, are better educated than you, and want to help you. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that you listen to because they will help you achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And you got to know when you're getting into one.
Best response to ignorance is no response at all, especially online, because there's people who are miserable with their lives that specifically make fake profiles to be able to get off their negativity.
I can't even talk about how many miserable people are out here. There's so many miserable people. I'm telling you, I mean, I knew that people were unhappy with their lives, but I find, like I'm seeing that, dude, it's more people unhappy with their lives than you think are unhappy with their lives. Unhappy with their lives, their wives, the husband, mostly the wives. I'm like, dude, change it. Do something about it. Tap into what God got for you to do with your life. Maybe you'll be less unhappy with your life. I don't know. Maybe
complete strangers. You don't know me at all. And I've done nothing to you, so why are you coming at me so hard? Oh, I know why. It's because you're miserable with yourself. So I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm not going to feed you, because that's exactly what you're doing when you clap back to these trolls. They feed off that. Number 1, you will probably never say this to me in real life. Number 2, I will probably never meet you in real life. And number 3, I don't fucking know you. You're a complete stranger. I really do not care what you think.
What irritates me the most when people get on Al Gore's internet and want to act a fool. Talking about people that want to comment crazy stuff underneath your posts. And it literally behooves me because it's always the people that don't either have a profile picture, don't have anything on their page. And it's these people that have the audacity to come to people's pages and make the most asinine comments. But I promise you, half those people saying all these flippant comments, being a keyboard gangster, if they saw you in public, they not even gonna say nothing. People love
half the ones that see you, not even half, most of the time. I can actually count on my hand and actually tell you how many people will see you in public and roll up to you and ask you about your comment that you made. Because being a gangster online is the new shit with some of these people, especially when they're 30s to 40s and they got beat up in school and they got laughed at. Oh, no. They were laughed at by their mama. Their mama ain't even like them. And when you get a bunch of people that their mama ain't like them, their daddy ain't like them, they were already told they were ugly and they trying to hide. Look, I'm telling you, bro, it's levels to this thing. People don't talk about it.
To be keyboard gangsters. And I'm at this point where I just ignore trolls because I don't have the time or energy to just be going back and forth with you. How do you guys handle trolls, aka keyboard gangsters?
How do you navigate a workplace troll? You know the type. They present themselves as friends and allies, but their true nature lies hidden beneath a carefully curated facade. These individuals become complicit in your struggles, but often position themselves as supportive while subtly undermining you. These self-serving opportunists go by many names, but followership theory offers a more descriptive term for these people, which is pragmatic survivor. They're chameleons, adept at navigating the system to their own advantage, and they change their position as often as they change their clothes. They'll walk with you as long as it benefits them, but if walking with you causes them to choose between what's appropriate and what's advantageous for them, they will betray you. And what's tricky is that they don't always openly oppose you. Instead, they wear the mask of congeniality, strategically ensuring their survival in every situation. The only time these people will hold you down is when the proverbial bus rolls by, and they'll be the ones ensuring you're beneath it. Here's the lesson in all this. There are levels to this. Be mindful of how you present yourself and what you tell people who haven't earned your trust. Everyone who smiles at you is not a friend. And I'm not saying not to trust anyone. I'm saying exercise discernment. Some respect is owed. Give that quickly.
And I'm going to add balance to this real quick before he even says the rest of that. The truth is, you're going to find out that some of the people that you actually know, or they think they know you, you thought you knew them. You didn't know them. They don't know you. You so far from being known from them. And then you wonder, hell, what the fuck? Like, who the hell is this nigga? Like, yo, never knew you. They don't care. Why the hell do you sit back and think about people that don't care? I'm gonna get back to this, but a pastor said this thing a while ago, and I took it to heart. The worst type of bondage that anybody can be in is people bondage. And what I witness from rap to sports to entertainment, even social media, a bunch of people in bondage to other people, in bondage to what they think, how they feel, what they all of these different things. Gotta get free. 2026, I'm telling y'all, I don't care. I'm free from these niggas. I'm telling you. I will block them in a heartbeat. My check is cool. I'm happy with my money that I'm starting to make. I enjoy my bread. Honestly. See, when people see you doing great things, they just want to be a part of it. So you gotta you say, yo, you pick and choose the right ones. Pick and choose the right ones.
Respect is earned. Give that slowly. And be wise about your inner circle. The worst attacks come from the inside.
Yeah, that inner circle one, he's right about that. Those are the worst attacks.
Lo and behold, a woman asks how I deal with it when little does she know. That morning I had.
You have no idea.
So she asks that question and the energy shifts in the room. So I'm standing on the stage and I'm debating how to answer. Brass knuckles and asking somebody to hold my hoop earrings. Oh, that didn't seem appropriate in a room full of life coaches. Instead, I've shared my 3-part framework for how to deal with rude comments. Number 1, do I think that the comment is rooted in vitriol, falsities, or hate? If yes, I'll delete it because I ain't got time for that trash. Bye-bye. If not, then I move to my second consideration. Number 2, do I want to respond? If I don't want to respond, I don't. I don't mind leaving comments that disagree or oppose my opinion as long as they're respectful to all followers. If the answer is yes, then I move to my third consideration. Can I respond using only facts with a clear reason why I'm responding? The answer is yes. I create a responsive reply, not a reactive reply. Now, the difference between the two is that one is rooted in emotion. And let me tell you, emotion gets messy on social media. Now, if I respond using logic, facts, and respect, then I believe both parties are in a different place. Do I hope that rude or negative comments come your way? Yeah, I do. When someone disagrees with your point of view, congratulations, you have arrived.
Yeah.
I have some really simple advice.
What she
for how
just
to
said right
maintain
here
your
is a fact.
sanity
If somebody does disagree, that's one thing I love about it with trolls. This is the thing why I kind of get rid of some and I keep others. If they start talking all this name calling and rude stuff, like I said earlier, I clip them. That means they don't have the ability to actually speak on a level of any type of intellect. Like they're not intelligent. They're not intelligent. And you would be amazed how many dumb people are around you on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, you'd be amazed about that. The people you pass by, people you knew from back in the day, some of them were just stupid. They They stay in that place of being stupid. They enjoy that place of being stupid. So, that being said, if you're dealing with them and you present the facts, like she said, I've found that you find out that some of them came off emotionally and they adjust. They either appreciate your content or they appreciate what you're saying, or their point that they're driving can be argued and debated from a place of maturity and understanding, from a place of charity. And then you just got some Negroes that just hate you.
Up and coming creator. The most mentally and emotionally painful thing about making videos is the trolls in the comments. Trolls can be separated into two categories: chaotic good and chaotic evil. Chaotic goods are trying to call you out in a friendly, fun way that makes you laugh but also think about yourself. These trolls are extremely healthy for you and your channel. They're going to help you get rid of some of that ego, and they're going to help you to curate your content to be more enjoyable for everyone.
I've had just one or two that's like that.
Chaotic evils, on the other hand, are only there to be destructive, and here's how you tell the difference. Criticism can be given politely or in a funny way. So if the person is trolling, but it feels like you're at one of those presidential dinners where they make fun of the president, or a roast on Comedy Central, then they're probably safe. Chaotic evil trolls, on the other hand, are only there for destruction. These are the folks that are being extremely rude, arrogant, ignorant, and straight up mean. When you call them out, they only double down and get more ignorant and arrogant as time passes. I'm going to give you some really, really, really good advice. Block them. Every single one of them. Don't even engage them. If they're chaotic evils, their only intent is to make you feel bad and waste your time. You may have to block hundreds of people a day, but I promise you, it'll be absolutely worth it. Save your interactions for people who are supporting you and genuinely love your content and you. And every now and then, have fun with one of those chaotic good trolls, because they can definitely teach you something and make you laugh. But I promise you, there is nothing but misery when you're trying to engage someone that walks in and says something like, "Wrong, this is how it works." Or you do a video on a subject and they go in there and act like they're the teacher and you just ask them a question. These are people you just need to block. You don't need them. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and many of them are going to play nice in your comments. Stick with them. The only thing I would advise is don't get too trigger happy, because some of those people are genuinely trying to give you constructive criticism. Just understand how they're communicating it, and that's how you'll know what their intention is. Because you don't want to go to the other extreme and block out all criticism, because you're not perfect, neither am I, no one is. And chaotic good trolls can really help you with that. In fact, people who just drop in and say, I disagree with that, and here's my theory. That's a great way for someone to criticize what you're saying. They say, I don't quite believe in it. Maybe this part's true, but I'm not sure about that. Here's my take on it. This is how you have a normal, healthy human conversation. You'll know the difference, because one will give you a stomach ache and the other won't. The other one might make you feel a little hot around the neck and a little nervous, but sometimes that's good. Just make sure it's a righteous conflict in pursuit of truth.
Here's how you're going to deal with trolls.
And this is the balance of pursuit of truth. Pursuit of truth says that you don't know everything. You grow in those spaces. And you got to understand, if you've spent so much time with the topic, researching it, understanding it, or it's something that you've just been lingering on or sitting on for a while, and somebody comes in with something that's completely counter, you can go ahead and find the facts and you say, well, this doesn't match up. They got to go. They got to go. Some people don't pursue truth. A lot of them just pursue their own ego to be right. They just want to be right and just want to have attention. You got to recognize when it's a true pursuit of truth and when it's just somebody trying to clout chase, really.
Because once we go viral, we all know trolls start coming to our platform. We start attracting all those losers, no profile photo, usually with 0 followers, and usually they're cowards, so they don't post anything, and they're usually anonymous accounts, let's be honest. This is how I deal with them. I actually see them as a really, really good thing. This is why. Because when someone comments on your post, it boosts your post. Them putting their little shitty remark or their stupid negative comment on your post is actually contributing to the success of your post. Sorry, I've been on a bottomless brunch and I've had a bit too many wines. But it's a really free
Girl, stop it. Just stop drinking.
Good thing. So the next time you get a negative comment on the piece of content on your post, just tell them, thank you so much for contributing to the success of my post and my page. Because the more people comment and the more people interact with your post, the more your piece of content will be pushed out to the algorithm. So there'll be more eyes on your content. It's a good thing. Kill them with kindness. So embrace the negativity, embrace the trolls, embrace the freaking losers that are too cowardice to ever say that to your face, and they usually have anonymous accounts. Embrace them because they're helping your account. As they always say, bad press is good press. Any sort of interaction is going to help. So don't worry when you get those negative comments. It's actually a good thing.
Story time with Unc. Fragrance family. I recently encountered a troll on another social media platform. Well, I had put a video up, and I'm a black man from the South. So the way I pronounce things may be a little bit different than people from other areas. But hey, I'm a black man from the South, and that's all I can be. Well, this particular person felt the need to get in my comments, and they let me know that I had mispronounced the word. So I responded to them by saying, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to get on this platform and watch my video and letting me know that I mispronounced the word. I said, I really appreciate it. The person said, you damn right. I guess it's true what they say about people from the South. And my response was, yes, it is true. I'm strong as fuck and I will whip your ass. Well, after posting that, my wife got wind of it, and she kind of reminded me that our pastor do follow us on social media. So I just ended up taking the entire post down. But my question to you is, have you ever encountered a troll? And if so, tell me how you dealt with them.
They'll never see you face to face. I know some people that's even on my Facebook side, bro. They say stuff, but if they saw you face to face, them Negroes is gonna go the other way. They ain't really about it. They not really about it. They not really about it.
How do you deal with internet trolls? My name is Marissa Harba, and I teach you energies you can connect in with yourself and others much deeper. So dealing with internet trolls is a very interesting thing because these people are hiding behind a social media handle, right? They're not putting their face out there. They're not even putting their actual voice out there. They're just putting text. And if you remember from some of my earlier videos, the way we communicate as human beings is 55% physicality, 36% tone of voice, and 9% actual words spoken, right? So that means what they're putting out there, whatever crappy comment that they're putting on your post, they're literally barely engaging. Of course, they're saying something really hurtful. This is very much a reflection of them and their frequency that they're vibrating at, but it's also a safe place for them to spew this hate. They would never do that to your face. They would never do that to you over the phone. So think about that. Those people are just cowards. And also, kudos to you because you are in the arena, right? Nate Brown says this all the time. You are in the arena. Those people are not in the arena. You are putting yourself out there, trying to make something new happen in the world, trying to bring your value to the world, trying to serve the world in whatever way that you are wanting to make it a better place. And their silly little 9% of a comment is not serving the world. It's not even serving them. But it does make them feel important. It makes them feel like they can shine from their power chakra and have any kind of effect on anybody because they feel they don't have any effect in their own lives. And so this is one small way they can feel significant.
Facts. They don't feel like they have an effect in their lives. This is all coming down to, in my opinion, identity. How do you identify yourself? Do you identify yourself as someone that is a child of God? Like, are you rooted in who you are, or are you more rooted in what somebody has to say about you, like how they feel about you, their thoughts, their feelings? Because what I found is that people's thoughts and feelings, because they don't live with you, they don't exist with you, and damn, you probably never, you more than likely will never meet them face to face. you got to go ahead and set it right. You got to cut it. Oh, wait, too hard. They need to cut it. Just cut it, bro. Just cut it. Bro. All right, cool. So, whoa. Real estate market is going bananas. And the question that I've had recently from sellers that I've listed their homes, people that are interested in selling their homes, hey, how do I actually, like, my house isn't selling. What do I do? First, I'm going to let you, I want you to listen to this because there is a resounding answer to this question through a lot of this conversation that realtors already put out here on the internet. But I'm going to break it down, take my 19 years or so messing around in this business, flipping houses, selling other people's houses, helping people buy houses. Yeah, I didn't did it, bro. The haters like to hate, but shit, I didn't did it. Then raised millions to do it. I didn't did it. And now I'm pivoting, and I love what I'm doing right now with you because I'm just going to share it with you because the answer's already there. A lot of people know the answer. They just are in denial concerning this because the market is shifting. And when you have a shifting market, you got to do things a little different. You can't come to the party like you the shits. You can't come to it like that. You can't come to the party like I got the best house on the block and I'm number one. It's so many different factors that go into it. Let's start rock.
If your house didn't sell, it probably wasn't the price. And it definitely wasn't the market. Not price, not market, and not timing. It didn't sell because there was no strategy. Most agents never identify the buyer avatar. Who is the exact person that would emotionally overpay for this home? What stage of life are they in? What do they care about? What insecurity, ambition, or desire does this house solve? If you don't know that, you are not marketing. You're uploading and hoping. Second, the home was not emotionally positioned. Buyers don't buy square footage. They buy identity. They buy a version of themselves.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Like I used to drive by this neighborhood and I actually live in it now. And I would say, man, I love that freaking pool. I love that tennis court. I love the ambiance of just driving by this neighborhood. It's really cool. And shoot, ended up living in the same neighborhood. But it emotionally triggered me. I didn't even see the house. I knew I bought the neighborhood.
Your listing reads like specs instead of a narrative. You've already lost leverage. The third reason your home didn't sell, the seller was managed and not led. There's a difference. My job is to not have you like me. Often leading clients makes them uncomfortable. And often it means telling you what protects your equity and not your ego.
And a lot of sellers, if you're a seller listening to this, you got to move your ego out the way. We're in a system right now where the market, the prices are adjusting, not for everybody's house, but guess what? For your house, because it hasn't sold, nor have you got any offers. Or if you got offers, they're so freaking low. So with that adjustment, your ego has to be removed and out of the way. That's the only way it's going to work. That's the only way.
Managed sellers get constant price reductions and excuses. Led sellers get direction, clarity, and results. And here's what you need to remember. A listing without strategy is just hope. Hope is not a marketing plan. The market doesn't decide your outcome. Positioning does. Competition is engineered. Leverage is created. Price is defended. If you want someone to agree with you, there are thousands of agents you can hire. If you want someone to lead you, hire an agent who understands marketing. You can gamble with hope, or you can find an agent like me who is focused on results.
Yeah, gambling with hope is the pride and the arrogance right about now.
If you have a property that's listed for sale right now and you're wondering why it's not being sold, it's because the price is too high. Plain and simple. What's going on, guys? If you don't know me, my name is JJ. I'm a mortgage broker licensed here in Missouri as well as Arkansas. If you're in those two states and you need a mortgage broker, reach out to me. Would love to help you. Now, why do I say that? I have buyers that are waiting to have their homes sold. I have people that I know in this local area just from being in real estate that are also waiting to have their homes sold. And a lot of them are complaining about the market, and they're saying, oh my gosh, my homes are listed for 90 plus days. No one's coming to look at them. It's because it's too expensive. That's why. Because I have other clients that have their homes listed and priced perfectly fine, and it's priced where people think it's a little low, and then it gets sold within, or goes under contract within 4 or 5 days. A flip property that I just listed.
I don't know about 4 or 5 days. I'm thinking I want it to be at least a week to 2 weeks, somewhere in that space. If it's too fast, it's too low. That's a fact. If it's there's got to be, and it's also about the pace of the market in that neighborhood too. I mean, are homes that do sell, are they sitting out there without any price adjustments and getting sold in 4 to 5 days? If that's average, then it belongs there. But if it's coming in great on price, if positioned right in the market, right, and the neighborhood is good, hey, you got to realize buyers have so many choices right now. They can choose to live in your neighborhood, or they can choose to live in somebody else's neighborhood. And because they have all these choices, if you're a buyer, you have so many choices right now, depending on the market that you're in also. Because some markets, doesn't matter, you're not going to find a deal, okay? But some markets, the deals are wide open. So you got to make sure that if they have multiple choices, yours just sits on the top of the pile of choices. First one.
With a partner of mine, we looked at comps and we knew where we were going to come in at was a little under probably where comps are at. It was also a little kind of a unique property. So we listed it under what we thought the original comp price was, and we went under contract in 4 days or 5 days. So pricing is key right now in today's market. And if you are a contingent buyer who is under contract on a property that you love and you want to get, make sure your agent is pricing your home accordingly. Make sure they're pricing it to sell, because we're not in 2021, 2022 anymore. Prices are lower.
Yeah, they are.
According to Google, searches for why I cannot sell my house are at a 10-year high. Now, I'm not sure when Google start tracking this, but if you pay attention to the graph.
That's crazy. At a 10-year high? That means you got a lot of people searching. They going through Google. Why the hell they just don't go through ChatGPT? That's how I say a lot of people aren't using AI. They just not. Or they're using it as some low-level Google search when it has so many other capabilities. And when they find how capable AI is, I'm going to ask the question, are we still going to be agents? Like, will you actually need an agent? Because I kind of believe the lifestyle and the concept of an agent is being redefined also. So
you will see that right now we have more sellers searching for why they can sell their home. I can tell you, as a real estate agent right now, this is the slowest market that I have seen since I got my license. A lot of homes are sitting on the market with no activities, and the ones that they are getting offers, a lot of them, the offers are coming significantly under the asking price. Now, of course, every market is different. There are still markets where the sellers have the upper hand, but most markets in America are in a buyer's market. The inventory is also increasing, and a lot of...
Yeah, I had a house that went under contract at least 4 times. At least 4 times this past few months. At least 4 times. And the craziest part about it is I know that it fell under out of contract because the market was slowly adjusting, and they found some other deals that were out there. That's why I said this is a competition as well as sales is a competition. It's a competition. You're selling. And a lot of people don't understand what sales really is. So they feel they got the best deal. And some of y'all feel it. If you're a seller listening to this, you think and you got the best deal. Like, man, I got a house and it's 300 square feet more than my neighbor, and it sits over here. These are functionally very good things that you have those extra added things like a full finished basement. It does make you competitively better, but you also have to persuade them based on price and condition. You don't want it to be so, just because you have those features, you don't want your number to be so high because it justifies the features. No. Some people right now are really price conscious even when they're buying a house. They want the house, they want to be in a home, but they're still price conscious. And you have to consider that, or be ready to sit on the market for a longer period of time. And the longer you sit on the market, you got to realize the less desirable your unit becomes or your house becomes.
Areas around the country, and some areas we have 40-50% more inventory than we had in 2019. Now, as someone that was active in real estate in 2019, I can tell you in the area where I work, 2019 was a balanced market, but the buyers were having the upper hand. And I'm a firm believer that if COVID would not happen, the real estate market would have been completely different in 2020, 2021, and 2022. And if you're thinking about buying a house, please click the link in bio for how to buy a house without a real estate agent. That will teach you exactly how to use that commission check into your own benefit.
I like that.
The housing market is a hot mess. And when I say hot, I mean a hot ass mess. Houston in July, hot ass mess when it's like 112 degrees outside, okay?
And once again, if you're listening, please like, subscribe, follow for more content. Go to the description link. You can join our property list, get Georgia property, off-market property sent to you. Not on-market stuff. We don't deal with on-market stuff. We deal with off-market deals. We also deal with ways for you to fund it if you need it. Information in the bio. I'm not going to sit there too long.
Literally, it's that big of a hot mess. I just took a video, and I'm going to put it somewhere on here, of my street. There are 6 homes around me, and I'm in a brand new build neighborhood, by the way, and they're all for rent or lease, okay? Big companies came in and bought all of the rest of the homes on my street.
If you have a house and in a subdivision that's like that, honestly, if you're cool to navigate the next 5 years, stay. But if you're planning on moving the next 5 years, you need to do that fast. Okay? Sell it as soon as possible. If you plan on moving, you're like, hey, Leon, I wasn't planning on moving, but in the next 2 to 3 years. Okay. Well, be prepared to weather the storm of that, because even though Trump is talking about cutting out institutional investors from buying in neighborhoods, it may not happen. It's great wordplay, but constitutionally, can it be done? I don't know. We haven't seen anything like really clear about that. So just be prepared. In the next 2 to 3 years, it will still be a buyer's market. You will still be dealing with that. If anything, I think it would be more of a buyer's market. That's just my opinion. We've been in a seller's market, in that cyclical term for sellers, probably since 2011, 2012. It's slowly just been gaining more and more momentum. Hey, just let you know.
To make them into permanent rental homes. And the housing over here is a little bit affordable because it's outside the city. It's in the suburbs. So you could get you a brand new build, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, front yard, backyard, sprinkler system. I mean, for about like $220, $225. Okay. The rest of the nation, that's like unheard of. But down here in Texas, we know it's a little bit more affordable. And that's considered high compared to what it used to be. As a native Houstonian, that's high as hell for what I bought. But it was a brand new build and I wanted brand new. I didn't want no problems. So, hey. And I got like 4.5% interest rate. But
that's not bad. If you got a 4.5% interest rate, stay right there, bro. Stay. Unless you really, really got to sell, stay right there.
Companies are coming in. It's like, oh, brand new neighborhood. Yeah, let us buy like 6 of those homes. Give us a small discount. We pay y'all cash. They swipe up these brand new bills and then put a for lease sign in the front of it. I don't have a neighbor on each side of me. There's a 2-story house next to me, empty, and there's another house behind me. I mean, on the other side of me, empty. There's one across from me, diagonal, empty. They're empty because, yeah, big companies came in and bought them, and they're going to charge sky high rental prices for it. So you're stuck always in a cycle of constant renting where you will never be able to save up enough money to put a down payment on a house, and you're stuck paying them because you don't need a house. You don't need to own anything. You just need to keep renting. Okay.
I don't think I'm not a proponent of keeping renting. I mean, there's benefits about owning a home, regardless of what anybody tells you. There are benefits to it, but man, I tell you, the cost of doing it right now is the most expensive thing. That's the thing. Like, some people don't understand you're going to have to do repairs on this house, and that's the thing that makes people uncomfortable once they get into the situation. It goes back to the same old song by Lauryn Hill. It is not about what you cop. It is 100% about what you keep, bro.
The reason your house is still sitting on the market
Or
is
maintain.
because when you and your realtor looked up comps to figure out how to price your house, you acted too much like an appraiser looks at the past sales and figures out, can we prove this value? Okay. Yes, your house is going to need to appraise at some point, but the problem with that strategy is everything that's sold, whenever you're pulling those comps, say your person, your real estate agent, or even you are savvy enough.
Okay, compare comps. In the industry, we use the word comps. It simply means comparable homes. Give you an idea. A comparable home is any home or most homes that are with 1 mile radius. Typically, if it's in the same subdivision, let's say if you live in Harmon Springs, the appraiser is going to start right in Harmon Springs. If you only got 50 houses in Harmon Springs and only 5 of those houses sold within the last year or 24 months of your appraisal, then those 5 houses, if they're comparable to yours, or even if they're slightly off, they can add and subtract value based on that too. Okay. They're going to be your comparables. Okay. That's what we call comps, or we call them comparables. Now, if we got to go out of the subdivision because there's no recent sales, the appraiser has to now, it's based on his discretion, but there are rules that he has to stay within because the house still has to be like your house when it comes to, you don't want to do a modern build and compare it to a traditional house, put it like that. Something that's traditional, contemporary, something that's traditional, like a cottage or something like that. You're not going to compare that to a modern 2-story home. It's not there. They're going to look for and keep going out, looking for homes that are comparable to yours and within that 12 months. And I'm going to tell you one more thing. If you find comparables that are more like 3 months to 6 months in, and you may have a higher comparable that's closer to 12 months, I'm going to tell you, 18 years of experience, 19 years, they're going to go with the ones that are more recent than that one that's out there. Unless that one that's out there really says, hey, this is a better deal than the rest of the other ones. So, yeah.
Pull up comparable sales from 90 days ago, 120 days ago, or even 6 months ago. Then what you're looking at is people who made decisions 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, maybe even 6 months ago to buy their house. Those are not the same people that are making decisions right now. So one of the most important things that you can do is you and your realtor go in and look at everything that is currently under contract that matches your description. And so this is going to get close. It's not going to be exact. We live in North Georgia, so there's almost nothing that's exact unless it's new construction. And so you're going to say, I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in a neighborhood. I need to find as close to that as possible that's under contract, maybe in the same school district. But you might also need to look in the school district next door to figure out what went under contract and why. And think like a buyer. Don't think like yourself and what is my house worth. I know your house is worth a lot of money, and I know that you bought it and you love it and you've put a lot of time and energy into it. But the problem that we have is buyers have too many options right now. So you got to see what decisions are buyers making as of right now on the market. And then the next thing that you and your agent need to do is go through the active comparables. They're still comparables. They're on the market. What are you competing against? There's only a few qualified buyers out in the market right now, and they have options. So if you're going to stay married to that price that you really want, there's a chance that those buyers will walk right on by you and they're going to go for another house. If it's important to you to move, you need to look at what your competition is, and you need to be at the top third of quality and the bottom third in pricing for comparable product. Okay? Stop.
She nailed it right there.
thinking about what you need out of the house. If you need to get your house sold, start adopting my strategy immediately so you can get it sold.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, she's 100% right there. It's also evaluating who your competition is. You don't want to be. Remember, I said earlier, you don't want to put it on the market within 48 hours, 72 hours. You get a contract. Realtors are screaming. You're screaming. Oh yeah, we got a deal. We got a deal. But you probably left some money on the table, honestly, because you want to be in that pack where you're not like the newest one, the best one, like the lowest cost one on the top of the lowest priced one at the top of the pack. You want to actually be slightly, I don't believe being in the middle, but a little bit somewhere between the middle and the top, somewhere in that middle spot. Why? Because when I look at that middle spot, especially if you have features that beat out those other features, you can slightly have a price that's a little bit more, a couple $1,000s more, and get it now. Simply because we know that we've got a full basement. Talking about you, just for example, we know we've got a full basement, right? Full basement, and the other two on the top may not have any basements. Guess what? I'm probably going to get I'm going to get a couple $1,000s more. I may get 5, may get 10 more, simply because I'm just that, or I might be harder on my negotiating. Put it like that. I might be harder on my They're priced a little bit less than I am, but I'm harder on my negotiating because my features are more. Keep in mind that they have choices. So you want your choice to stand out amongst all their choices. The market is shifting and sellers don't see it. A lot of sellers don't see it. They're only tied emotionally to what they believe they should get or they're entitled to get is really interesting. So
Your house, it isn't clean. It's just picked up. And that could be reason number 3 that your house isn't selling. Buckle up. Buyers, they just don't look at the big things. They look at stuff like your baseboards, your windows, dust, dog hair, fingerprints, mystery smells, which we already talked about. Here's the truth no one really likes to hear. When buyers see that in your home, they immediately go to, this house probably isn't well maintained. And when they assume that, they mentally start deducting the money they're going to pay for a house. So before you panic and you do a price drop, deep clean everything in your house. And I'm talking baseboards, windows, light switches, door frames. You can replace the light switches. It's a fact. Clean houses sell faster than dirty ones.
And what's wild is that I've been in houses before and people don't think that it's dirty. Sometimes it's worth investing in a cleaner to come and do a deep cleaning on your house before you take pictures and you put it out there. Especially if you know you're not going to have as much traffic once you list it, which you shouldn't have as much traffic, meaning your kids need to keep things clean, stuff needs to stay in a certain place, because in any day you can get somebody that wants to see your house, and by that evening you may just have a contract. It moves that fast. And get the advice from other people, not necessarily people that live in your house, but let's say if my wife has a great sense of smell. I mean, I'm like, dang, how did you smell that? Like, she smelt it and she smelled it. She'll be upstairs. She's like, what's going on downstairs? What's that smell? Somebody burning food? And I'm like, no, the microwave, it got heated up a little bit longer in the microwave, but she smelt it. So not everybody has that sense of smell. Don't hit yourself upside the head if you don't. But try to get like a cleaner to come and do the deep cleaning, because believe it or not, unless you're going to sell it to somebody like me who buys houses regardless of the condition, okay, you're going to end up running into people that are heavily sensitive when it comes to smell. And sometimes those people are the people that would pay the most amount of money simply because they love the way your house smells. Like, it smells good. They feel emotionally like, if I live here, I'm going to smell good too. And it's weird how that works, but it works.
Okay, everyone, here's an unpopular opinion, or more importantly, an unpopular truth for the real estate industry. Showing feedback is going away. It's a thing of the past. Not because that's the way it should be, but because that's the way that it's going to be. You see, a buyer's agent has a fiduciary responsibility to their buyer, not to the other agent's seller. And feedback does nothing for that buyer other than if they come back to the property and want to make an offer. They already showed their card, showed their hand on what they think of the property. but it only benefits the seller. And there are lawsuits right now that are actually challenging this, and they are suing buyer's agents because they gave up information about their buyer, and their buyer didn't even know that they were going to do that.
That's why I'm not even a fan of being a buyer's agent. And I kept saying, I think I'm moving away from being the agent, broker, and into the space of just dealing with my own investing and stuff like that, and just talking to you guys. Because at the end of the day, the lawsuits that they're having right now in the industry, whether you're a seller, whether you're a listing agent listing it, or whether you're a buyer's agent working with buyers, the reality of it is, I don't think they want us to make money. I do really believe that somewhere around the line, people got pissed and they like, damn, these guys making 3%. Like shit, 3% on 400,000 is big. They have no idea when it comes to cost that's going in, taxes that you got to pay on the back end, splits with your broker. They don't care about that. They only see the check. They only see the check. And unlike the guys over in Wall Street who make commission based off of what they put people's money into, whether it's mutual funds or however it is they manage these stock portfolios for people, high net worth, sometimes moderate net worth. You see our commission on the closing disclosure. You don't see their commission. You only see if you're up or you're down. You quite don't know how much they made on your trade. So a little bit different, And
unfortunately, our industry has become an industry where it's not about what's right or wrong. It's about what you can litigate, okay? And so moving forward, there's two ways that you're going to get feedback. One is going to be by doing pre-marketing on that property in a way that's actually compliant within the industry. We have a tool called First Up, FYRSTUP, and you're going to allow your office to see that property beforehand and let you know what they think of it before it hits the open market. And the second way is by understanding what feedback is. Not all feedback is a buyer agent coming through and saying, this is exactly what we thought of the property. If you get a certain number of showings and you are getting no offers, that is feedback as well. And so the industry is just going to have to get better. Agents are going to have to get smarter about how they do it, use the right tools, know what feedback actually looks like. What do you guys think about this? Where do you see it going? Are you already seeing this in your area? Let me know.
Yeah, we're already seeing that big time. Let's go to this.
As somebody who buys and sells real estate all the time, I promise you there's no housing market crash, okay? Let me explain to you what's going on. It's very simple. We have a standoff between buyers and sellers right now.
So just to give you a little perspective, he's more on the investing side. He's not an agent. Most of these guys have been agents that I've been telling you this is what they think, how they feel, and their input, and adding my input to it. But he's actually an investor. So investors tend to see stuff a little bit different because it's more based on money and not numbers and not emotion, where some people get more emotional about whether they're going to take the deal, whether the offer was high enough or not. I've seen buyers and sellers get so emotional in these real estate deals. That's kind of the reason why I stay away from the buyers and the sellers. Oh, no. Some of y'all traditional people, y'all make me a little nervous. I feel like y'all going to bust out a gat and start popping people, changing your mind every 10 minutes. You got to stay steady. One thing you can learn from buyers who are investors, or even sellers that are investors, mostly buyers that are investors, the buyers have a buy box. Just like I always believe buyers who are traditional buyers just trying to buy a house, you should have a buy box. These are just criteria that you will take. Don't always be the money. You have a money threshold and you know what that is, and you should have a neighborhood threshold where you know what that is, but you got to have some boundaries so that when you find it, dude, you buy it. The worst portion that I've seen with buyers is when they, and this is for you buyers, I know we'll be talking about selling your home, but this is for you buyers, because I'm pretty sure buyers are listening to you too. I'll probably do this deeper. Is when you let a good deal go by. And I think it's also bad for sellers too, when you guys, you know you need to be 5K less and you could take the 5K hit, but you just in your mind don't want to do it. For whatever reason, you feel like you're leaving money on the table. Dude, you know if it takes 90 days to sell and your mortgage is $2,500, you're well into $7,500. You could have took the haircut for the 5K and been out in 30 days. And but you ended up now $7,000, an extra $2,500 in a hole. people don't do numbers. They do emotion when it comes to real estate, traditional real estate. So he's going to tell you the number portion, the practicality.
Okay, sellers want top dollar for their properties, unrealistic amounts for their properties, and buyers don't want to pay that. That's why we have such a slow market currently. And because interest rates are so high by design, the Fed raising rates and them raising mortgage rates, they've done this so that the people buying can't justify paying the amount that the people selling for are asking. Okay, so what's eventually going to happen is one side is going to feel the pressure. Which side is that going to be? It's going to be the seller side, the people selling, because the people selling have to sell. Okay, majority of people who list their property for
and this is only for the people that are selling that have to sell. Some of y'all list your property and you do not have to sell. Y'all know y'all don't have to sell. You just would like to sell. You would like to get out of it. And I'm wondering why. Don't do it if you got a freaking 3%, 4%.
Congratulations. Well done.
Don't do it. Don't. I mean, just rent it out. If you don't want to deal with rentals, get a property management to do it. God, board it up. Keep your freaking rate at least at that rate, okay? Because you just never know. Trump may allow us to transfer rates to the new house. No, he may not. I don't think that's coming down the line.
Sale, for some reason, they have a reason that they need to offload that property, whether they need to move to a new location because of work and they got to move quickly, or whether they need the money, whether they need to downsize, whether somebody lost a job. Nobody sells unless they have to. That's just my experience. That's been my experience, okay? When people are selling things, it's usually because they have to. Somebody who is financially secure all around almost never sells. Very rarely do they sell. And maybe some people will come for me in the comments and say, you don't know what you're talking about. But most of the time, especially when you're dealing with people who are just regular people who just have one single family home, when they're selling, they need to sell for some reason. It's a need to sell. Okay, I'm not talking about like real estate investors, people who buy multifamily properties, commercial buildings. When those people sell, sometimes they're just upgrading to another property or moving money around. I'm talking about regular everyday people. When they list for sale, they need to sell. So what's going to happen here is eventually, and it's coming very soon, they're going to start lowering their prices. They're going to start dropping their prices because of the pressure. And when they do that, then people are going to start buying again. There's going to be a buying frenzy again. But what's happening right now is a market correction by design, right? They raised the rates, the mortgage rates on purpose because they knew the only way to combat these homes that were so expensive or these high asking prices by sellers was to make it very unattractive for buyers to want to purchase these homes because of the high interest rates. They created this standoff between buyers and sellers by design. There's nothing going on here that's unusual, okay? Nothing. And right now, the job market's not looking very good. People are getting unemployed. We're having a lot of unemployment, right? AI is also coming in, getting rid of a lot of jobs. I mean, I think, we're going to have a massive correction here soon, but it's not going to be a crash. It's just going to be a buck. We've been asking $600 for our house. We've listed it 2 or 3 different times and we still haven't sold. I guess, we really need to sell now. Let's just ask $500,000 for it. And then homes are going to move. So
forced depreciation, forced depreciation, forced accepting less than what it is. And is sad, but I think it's to me, it's a challenge between uneducated agents that can't drive home the point to some of you sellers or to sellers if you're a buyer listening, and then sellers that just have this imaginary number in their mind and they're bent on doing it this season and they will sit, and that's just the way it is.
This is just a standoff between buyers and sellers. Buyers don't want to pay the high rates without having a good deal. And sellers right now are still holding on to their delusion of getting top dollar. But who do I think is going to fold? Sellers. Sellers are going to fold because people who are selling property, especially regular everyday people, need the money. That's why they're selling. And the need for money will force them to drop their price.
Yep. So I don't even push back, even when it comes to offers that we put out on people that need to sell. Listen, the offer's good. If you don't want to buy, if you don't want the offer, guess what? Somebody else will take it. At the end of the day, if you need to sell, you're going to sell. Some people think that, man, I'm going to hold out for 2,000 more. And I sit back and I laugh because that 2,000 comes 2 months later. And after that time, they've paid, like I said before, $6,000 already. Hey, man, like, subscribe, follow for more content. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I've already been in the trenches. I'm at a place right now. I'm like, I don't know about these trenches. I'm cool. Yo, shoot, man. Okay, check this out. Some of you guys are still over in Mexico. You're dealing with this Mexico situation. For whatever reason, you're still there. I'm gonna tell you, this is what's happening in Mexico right now, and I like to trend and I like to keep up with what people are saying is going on. And I'm a believer that Trump probably needs to send the Marines down there to extract American citizens who are probably stranded in resorts, unable to leave due to cartel people. Listen, Trump, you listening, send them, because some weird things are popping up down there.
They found extermination camps in Jalisco, which is only an hour from Guadalajara. This is a piece of land. It's a farm. It's been raided by authorities in the past, and they found illegal weapons, bulletproof vests, ammunition, and then they take off, and the bad people just come back.
Hey, like, subscribe, follow. I appreciate you guys over in Facebook and over on YouTube hopping in and checking out the stream. Let's go.
They went in to take a look at the property again yesterday. There's 3 ovens, 3 cremation ovens there. All kinds of cars. They found bones, a bunch of bones. They found jewelry. They found car keys. They found over 400 pairs of shoes. Nobody knows who these people were, where they came from, nothing. With the little bit of information that's left there, people that have gone missing, now you know. Yeah, it's not, I know a lot of people go there and it's a great time and stuff, but that's an extermination camp with 3 ovens. Why would they even, who thought of that? Who said, let's put 3 ovens here and let's do this here? Why would you even do that? I don't even know. I'm like blown away by the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah, I knew it. Let me tell you, Americans don't really realize how they are the prize when it comes to traveling to a lot of these countries. I'm telling you, like, you guys are the prize. We are the prize. We go to these countries, we spend our hard-earned money. We should be treated, of course, with respect and with love, especially when $1 can buy bread and a bunch of water, because the economy is not as great. But we still don't quite get it. We don't quite get it. Some places, they need to see less of us, not more of us, especially when it comes to safety and safety concerns and family. I'm just not a fan of going to Mexico. You will not. I've been to different places. I will not be down there. I'm sorry. For this season, as long as Trump is in office right now, I'm not doing it. No pun against Trump, but I guess I feel like they look at me like the piggy, like the money play. Nah, bro, we good. Come on, keep going.
Full of people, even the driver, have gone missing in Mexico. The authorities have launched huge searches to try to figure out what happened and have yet to come back with any answers. The bus was still running, so it didn't have any malfunctions. There was no sign of an accident. Everybody was just gone. Their belongings left behind like they left in a hurry. So they could tell that the belongings told the story, the people were vacationing, and then they were gone. On a highway in the middle of nowhere the bus was found with nobody in it. This happened on the 15th of February. They still don't know where those people went or what happened to them. When they tell you it's safe, it's not even safe for the locals. And they don't even know if they're locals. Because again, they haven't found the people.
Wow. Keep saying it. I keep saying it. Hey, I hope everybody in Mexico gets back to America safely. People that are down there, I hope they are able to stop the fighting. More than likely not, because what I realize is that Mexico is now trying to cleanse themselves in order to stay in Trump's graces. But nobody talked about this and told Americans. Probably they did put out a report. How many Americans actually listen to travel reports when they travel? I don't know. Hey, man, like, subscribe, follow for more content. We're going to roll into the next segment. All right. Shoot. Man, this portion, I'm gonna put this portion up here because I needed to talk about this because I thought when I saw this yesterday and I started going through, I went to Chad O. Jackson's website. I went to his social media. I'm probably going to hop on and subscribe to his stream when it comes to this narrative that he's putting out concerning Martin Luther King. And some of you people may not like it. Some of y'all don't like it. I'm a believer we can't conquer anything when you talk about finances, when you talk about trading, when you talk about real estate, talk about building wealth, all these nice catchphrases that, and I'm being nice, I'm being gentle, that you guys like to listen to, that you're really, yay, power to the people. I keep saying the narrative that we've been fed is wrong. It's actually been a constructive narrative to kind of keep us in a certain place. When I say us, black and white, honestly. I think part of it is to keep white people pushing on black people and to keep black people pushing on white people, creating more divide going on throughout the country. Oh, I don't like the orange man. Oh, my president was better. History belongs to the people that write it, not the truth, not the people who want to be told the truth, not even the people that did the right things that should have been recorded. It belongs to the people that take the damn time to document it. A lot of the things that we even have historically, they only exist because the people who had the education and the ability to be able to write and read could record it. The people who could not read and write in a language that could be further translated down the line, meaning it was popular and people understood it, and some people knew what they were saying when they wrote it. I'll give you an example. Jesus spoke Arabic, right? What, Jewish or Medish or, several different languages. Aramaic. But the people who were able to read the testaments that were written by the apostles was because the apostles were able to communicate, or those people were able to communicate in a language that most people read, or people were able to read about what took place. There's the break when there's a break where if it can't be communicated to a large amount of people, it will die. Now, in this situation, it's not completely the same. I ran on a tangent right there. I'm going to bring it right back. But we do have a lot of information that I think we skip by in school. We don't talk about it because it doesn't fit a certain curriculum. Why talk about the imperfection of Martin Luther King when we need a hero, somebody that's out there that's going to inspire other people to walk the same road? I believe that Martin Luther King is the reason why we have a Zoran Mandani.
He further looked at the early stages of John F. Kennedy's unconstitutional civil rights bill.
I am therefore asking the Congress to enact legislation
You'll remember at the time there was a debate raging in Congress between the idea of state sovereignty versus the idea of federal authority. You should also remember that we were in the middle of the Cold War, and the communists were exploiting, exaggerating, and in some cases instigating discrimination in the United States in order to demonstrate to the rest of the world that a constitutional republic cannot offer the same degree of freedom as a communist system. Understanding that in order to...
Now, we got to keep in mind that we're still going through the same battle. Nothing's changed. When I looked at... Please go to his site, Chad O. Jackson. I mean, it's a well-crafted documentary. I mean, he's releasing parts to the series, I think, weekly. But that's true. I mean, we're still dealing with the same communism, socialism, socialist mentality that a lot of Americans in the 60s and 70s fought against. We're dealing with the same thing. Nothing's really changed when you look at it. Well, there's been some change, but it's not been for the good.
Pressure Congress to take up the legislation or to win in the court of law, you must first win in the court of public opinion. JFK allowed, some would argue reluctantly, for there to be a March on Washington in 1963. This, of course, is where Martin Luther King delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech. In my effort to confront and debunk the romanticized and sanitized way in which the speech is falsely framed today, in the last episode, we revealed the true intentions and the long-term goal of the I Have a Dream speech as admitted by Bayard Rustin, who was one of King's top advisors and the engineer of the March on Washington.
When the white unemployed join the Negroes in creating social dislocation in the interest of jobs, we must separate pay from work. No matter what we do, we will never again put all Americans who are capable of work back to work. And therefore, the first principle for which I stand, and Negroes will have to increasingly stand for it, as will the white miners in Tennessee and elsewhere. Question is no longer how much does a man get for work, because there is not enough work and cannot be. We have to establish the social principle, make it a part of our constitutional way of life, that a man is paid a decent wage, whether or not this society can put him to work.
So we've been speaking about social, a universal, same thing Andrew Yang spoke about, a universal income. The concept of the universal income, when I tell people it started with socialism. And I had a brother ask me, and he asked me a really good question. Do you believe in democratic socialism? And the reason I don't believe in it is because it stifles creativity. It puts you in a position where your brain isn't challenged to actually create anything, fix anything, dream of anything, because you already know you have a check coming to you. Why should I do anything different? Why should I do anything different? And that is the reason why. Is this Luti? I don't know. What does that mean? You got to tell me what that means. I don't know what that means. Okay, cool. Here we go.
And this is a profound and radical idea, but it is an idea which will emerge. The Negroes will understand it first.
In the next episode, we will further look at opposition to the Civil Rights Bill and its eventual passage after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And of course, since the Civil Rights Bill was never meant to be the end, it was never meant to be enough, we will look at the subsequent attempt to pass the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which coincides with the communist plan for mass enfranchisement for an ultimate proletarian revolution. Lastly, Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement took the Negro from a trying race to a crying race. Prior to his rise and prior to the rhetoric that we began to see in the Civil Rights Movement, it was cast down your bucket where you are, put your hand to the plow. Nobody's going to give it to you. It's up to you. Joseph H. Jackson was famous for saying, it's up to men to be men.
It keeps me from being jealous of others. It keeps me from being lost in pride when I know there's something else I could do. More growth, more power, more strength. Lord, Make me a better man. If you're not going to be men, braid your hair and start wearing step-ins. God has carefully made you and fixed you just right, and you're trying to change it. Let men be men.
But as King would come along in the interview,
And is it interesting that he's talking about letting men be men and not letting men act or move like women? This was in the 60s. That's an actual recording of Joseph A. Jackson speaking. And I didn't know about Joseph A. Jackson until I had to do a deep dive and really research who he was. But he was actually talking about gay, homosexual activity amongst African American men in the 60s. Now, how do I know? I'm gonna let it finish.
he was asked about these kinds of things. And he would say that, well, men can't be men because of housing conditions and because of this and because of that.
We haven't been men because of all of the conditions that we've lived with and the syndrome of deprivation surrounding conditions, whether it's in housing, in the economic area, or in schools, or in the vicious credit practices that we face.
Now, when I hear this, I hear someone, Martin Luther King, feeling the pain of what people deal with on a daily basis. But there's also a sub communication that's going on. There is a place where you're making excuses for the situation. Yeah, you're saying, oh, they're responsible for me. That's the reason why we can't be men. You're getting away from the one that actually made you a man, gave you a mission, gave you a purpose, gave you gifts and talents, made you in his image, and you're neglecting taking the time to discover him and discover yourself, and you're saying this system owes me this as retribution. And I'm not gonna say, listen, the United States didn't do wrong by black people. That's not the conversation. Yes, the country has done. The people at that time did wrong by us. But if we look further down the line, you'll start to see that we were doing so good despite of all of that. Something happened which took us from being dependent and relying in community and tribe of the black doctor that's in our neighborhood, the black lawyer that's in our neighborhood, the black teacher that teaches our children, to a place where we don't want to be together anymore. We don't want community really anymore. We want to assimilate to society and be accepted by people that don't necessarily look like us. Now we're going through Martin Luther King. We're going to a place of acceptance, and we want to be accepted, regardless of if you believe it or not. Everybody wants to buy that house with the white picket fence, or they want to have that condo that overlooks the water. They want to be accepted. Whereas black communities in the past, they had their own individual communities. Now we're going into segregation.
Ghetto and all of the problems of closed doors and constant defeats.
He was giving every excuse as to why men can't be men. Think about how embittering that is. Think about how deflating that is as a young black man to turn on the television and you see the person who you're told is the leader of the Negro telling you that men can't be men because of X, Y, and Z. As you move into the 70s, the age of indulgence, I call it, you have not only the black militant movement that succeeded the civil rights movement, you also have second wave feminism, you have gay liberation, which would later become the LGBT movement, you have free love, you have the hippie movement.
If you don't know what the black empowerment movement is, we're talking Black Panther, we're talking Malcolm X still on the scene doing, speaking about Negroes separating. All these things were taking place. And I kept saying this, and I keep saying this. This is the time, the liberals that we actually see right now rioting and protesting in Minnesota, you got to realize that type of liberal was birthed out of the hippie movement. Like, we don't want any regulations or controls from the government. Rule of law is not something we want. And matter of fact, because you tell me I can't feel this way, think this way, or do this way, you're a fascist. So these things that we see, they started somewhere. It just didn't start just in Minnesota or any of those places. It started somewhere with an ideology.
You have a lot of these things that are going on, which is basically the baby boomers who are coming of age rebelling against their parents' generation. And as a result of this, you see a decrease in marriage rates. And this was already happening. I mean, Daniel Patrick Moynihan wrote about this kind of downward trajectory that was happening, which is around the same time that King was kind of coming at the scene. I'm not laying it all at the feet of King. I'm just saying that this rhetoric, this kind of shift in mindset doesn't get as much attention paid to it as it ought to. If you're talking to Black liberals, they blame it on systemic racism. Talking to Black conservatives, they blame it on LBJ and the Great Society. I tend to agree more with the conservative contingent and the leftist contingent. However, King was actually far more radical than LBJ. LBJ's Great Society did a lot of negative things in terms of social welfare, but King didn't believe that it went far enough. So he started what was called the Poor People's Campaign, which was meant to go further than the war on poverty. And so we let our hands off the proverbial plow and we picked up the picket signs because we believe that those picket signs will get us the liberation we so desperately needed. We were interested in revolution as opposed to reformation. Reformation takes hard work, but in that hard work, there's a character building component. Whereas with your revolution, your sudden uprising is unsustainable and it will implode. You might get the...
And that's the reason why I don't subscribe to democratic socialism, because it takes hard work to be a capitalist, to do these things, to make things, to buy houses, to be creative, put digital programs together. It takes work to actually do this. And in the course of that work, dude, you discover so much about yourself if you take that journey. Some people don't want to take that journey. You ever heard that statement that the graveyard is full of people, a lot of, what was it, great ideas and concepts? They never took that journey. Some excuse kept them from walking down that road. And I get it, because the less you know who you are and your true identity in Christ, like that God walks with you every day. He's the one that keeps you from not stepping in that line of traffic. And you may think, oh, I was lucky and missed me. No, the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. Like he's trying to keep you for something. It's never luck. It's always a reason and a purpose. He wants you to lean. All of that goes out the window when you start talking about democratic socialism. It does. It's a more social gospel. It's more based on feeling and emotion. And a lot of that came from King, unfortunately.
Facade of progress, but that progress will soon implode. And we're starting to see it. I mean, Dr. Carol Swain wrote about something similar, I think in 2005, where she saw the writing on the wall as this kind of emerging kind of fight back that we're seeing amongst certain white folks. Because to the extent that you instill this kind of spirit of being a protected class into Blacks by way of the civil rights movement, what we saw happen as a result of this, in my opinion, is this kind of smug disposition amongst many Blacks, this kind of freedom to be openly racist, which we see in a lot of instances today, this kind of race paranoia, seeing racism where there is no racism, I think is one of the results. And for
you can't convince, I mean, I've had people on Facebook, different places I've talked to, you can't convince them that they're not overly paranoid. They're not paranoid about race. You can't convince them on that. Between the hangings and everything, the messages given out there, and experiences too. You can't convince them that it was something different or that they brought the energy to the room. You can't. And I'm not saying there's no racist people out there. Please don't say that. I'm not saying that. But sometimes we look so far into something that doesn't exist, and we never are able to really see clear.
A long period of time, many whites have been in a mode of flight, walking on eggshells around Blacks so as not to offend. But now you're seeing a certain contingent of whites moving into an age of fight. They've had enough. And so you see some white people being openly racist, and especially if you're spending your time on X and places like that. The issue that we saw with Blacks in terms of being on this kind of upward trajectory, and then around the time of the civil rights movement plateauing and then going on this rapid decline, is a result of a changing of the culture that exists not only amongst Blacks, we see amongst whites too.
Yeah. And I think the worst part about it is that a lot of Blacks think, oh, that person's being racist to me, and not lying that they are. They probably well are being racist to you, or really exhibiting some type of racist persona or energy to you and never really understand why. You think that is a color thing. A lot of times it's the smugness that you are more protected, you're better than the other class of people because, damn, I deserve to be protected. You brought the slaves over here. You gave us this. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Damn, I'm going to tell you honestly, I would say you being here, as painful and hate bad as it has been for Black people to come to the United States as slaves, if you look at where Africa is right now, some great and powerful countries, good country. I'm not saying that everything's bad, but you have more lack of infrastructure, which leads to more diseases. I could tell you stories about people who fly from Africa, from Ghana, from Liberia, from Nigeria, from different places to come here to get the medical treatment that they need because the simple thing is their running water isn't clean enough to sustain health. The infrastructure. Black people help build it. That's true, but we got to understand the lie that's being told to us at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time.
I was criticized for favoring the teachings of Karl Marx and for joining the Communist Party. These accusations were true.
Now, this is W.E.B. Du Bois. When we look at him, a lot of people don't even speak about any of his communist connections. They don't speak about any of his socialist perspective. They only see him as someone in history that shaped the way that Black people thought, like Booker T. Washington. But there were always two different school of thoughts. You had the Booker T. Washington school of thought, take care of yourself, we're going to do it. Then you had W.E.B. Du Bois, his school of thought, which we never mention or even talk about socialist roots. And
favoring the teachings of Karl Marx and for joining the Communist Party. These accusations were true. Today, more than half the people of the world live under a socialism which is growing toward communism. In my mind, there is no doubt but that the world of the 21st century will be overwhelmingly communistic.
On the day before the March on Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, who inspired a lot of King's political philosophy, passed away. There was a debate over whether a tribute should be paid to him during the March on Washington, but the communists were afraid that this would jeopardize King's leadership. He would, however, pay his respects during Du Bois's posthumous 100th birthday celebration.
When King was coming, I know what was going on in our circles. Don't mention the Communist Party. We'll put King in a bad way, blah, 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 blah. James Baldwin made a great speech, but he never mentioned the Communist Party, but he said everything but that. I think he got the memo. But somehow, Martin Luther King didn't get the memo, because here's what he said. We cannot talk about Dr. Du Bois without recognizing that he was a radical all his life. Some people would like to ignore the fact that he was a communist. It is time to cease muting the fact that W.B. Du Bois was a genius and a communist. Our irrational, obsessive anti-communism had led us into too many quagmires to be retained as if it were a mode of scientific thinking. That was Dr. Martin Luther King. He was a great democratic revolutionary, probably the greatest we've had in this period.
I would say that for the Negro American, the I Have a Dream speech closed a chapter of Do for Self, which marked the era of Booker T. Washington, and ushered in the era of revolution and protest, resulting in a drastic shift in the mentality.
I would say go check it out. Chad O. Jackson over at Instagram. I thought it was a really good piece. I've looked at several of his reels and videos, and I don't think he's that far off. I don't think he's that far off at all. I think the ideology that we have embraced. And you're talking to someone that I grew up learning the I Have a Dream speech, internalizing it, and literally going to different churches in the AME church and actually delivering it. And it was very interesting. Standing ovation, people loved it. And at that point in time, I was like, man, this is awesome. The beginning of actually speaking in front of tons of people required me to actually learn that so I can go out and compete with it. So in the course of that, I never sat back and actually thought about the ideology of King. I mean, I just accepted what was given to me. You think about it, you're 13, 14 years old. Like, you're going to sit back at that time with no internet and research King. So as technology, again, not even mentioned, begins to move forward and advance in some of these pieces in history that nobody wants to talk about, nobody discusses, technology will now be the thing that brings a lot of those things to light, because you can't quite hide it any longer. You can pull people that have old film and that covers this, and back in the day you wouldn't know it unless you had the VHS to actually go over it. VHS, for some of y'all that don't know, VHS is actually the way we used to listen to stuff before CDs, right? But they didn't have that. Now it's light years faster. What would be on VHS and take years to circulate from household to household, we've got social media where that can just be displayed. And what's even cooler and deeper about it is we can turn around now and use things like ChatGPT to confirm whether this information is right or wrong. And if you're really diligent about it, you'll go to a library, you'll pull out a book, and you'll actually read a physical copy to tell you the truth. So take it however you choose, whether you like it or you don't. This is not designed to make you like what I'm saying. It is clearly to highlight to you what is taking place and to go out and take a look at this documentary, because this documentary, I would say, man, it is probably one of the most prolific documentaries I've ever seen. And I love documentaries. I love books. I love looking at history. But again, history is given to the people that know how to communicate it. And up to this point, if you didn't have the ability to read or write, then you didn't have it. Now, there's one other last video I'm going to do on this, because you got to realize in the course of doing this, when we allow people to give us history and information and we accept that as what it is, we don't take the time to research it. We rather troll and argue with them online of it not being right, when some people have taken time to study certain things. It's better for you to actually do the research for yourself, so you can now determine if what that person is saying is right or not. And again, the reason I say that Chad O. Jackson's documentary on Martin Luther King is so prolific is simply, I've never seen anyone counter the argument of King being a democratic socialist. Nobody even mentioned democratic socialist in the conversation with Martin Luther King. I've never seen it up until Chad O. Jackson's documentary. And I'm gonna even take it a little further. You will say, Leon, he's not. No, you're crazy. I'll show you one last video. I actually skipped this video because I know already. It's heavy for some
A lot of people believe that the FBI sent King a suicide letter telling him to kill himself. That never happened. William Sullivan, who was a special agent with the FBI, he anonymously sent King a letter and said, we know what you're up to. We know what you're doing. You have X amount of days. You know what you need to do. A lot of people construe that as a suicide letter telling him to kill himself. They weren't telling him to kill himself. They were telling him to step down from the movement. The ultimatum that you're given is, if you don't step down, we're going to release the tapes of your sexual escapades to the public. We're going to release it to the press. That was the warning. When it comes to how King was assassinated, the jury is still out on that, because you have to look at motive. Of course, the government did have motive, but so too did the communists, because martyrdom is a part of their many tactics. You have the feds and the Soviet Union long working together with civil rights, but they disagreed on who should lead the movement. King, he was a huge liability to the efforts of the feds.
And not just that, when he started to realize that he put himself put the black community in a burning building because you wanted to conform to society. You wanted to be accepted by people that didn't accept you. And that was okay, because at the end of the day, if we would have allowed it to take its course, I truly believe we would be in a place of power. We would have more harnessed black community, which that black vote, which you see in Somalia, in Minnesota, that voting block that Ilhan Omar has, it's because they all stand on one thing. Somalians are clan based. A lot of Americans don't understand that. And me, I know it. They're clan based. So there's a clan ideology, and clan above everything. They stick together. They stick together. So, hey guys, I'm not even gonna drive deeper into it. Just go check out his, and you make a determination for yourself. You decide if what I'm saying is crazy, okay? But I can tell you one thing: your kids aren't going to go to school and learn this, because it doesn't fit the narrative of black culture. It doesn't fit the narrative of the overly educated black people who determine, who believe they're the elite, and they should determine and guide us. Hey, King's father was an alpha. King was abducted into Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and I truly believe the reason he died and was killed, it wasn't because he was a black person. My opinion is simply he held some socialist, not held, he did have socialist perspective, democratic socialist perspectives. And at that point in time, you had a lot more people that were anti-socialist, anti-communist, and they wanted to take him out, period. Okay? Believe it or not. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Man, I was kind of blown when I saw this. The tides are changing, man, and this is about to be really, really nasty. I've seen so many of you guys, COOs, CEOs, CFOs, black, white, yeah, Asian, Hispanic. Dude, whatever happened over the last 5 to 10 years, the run, some people kept their hands in the cookie jar longer than others. And the COO of the High Museum, this museum, me and my wife used to go to this place. We used to take the kids to. Really fun place, downtown Atlanta, just to walk around and to see the art. And then first Friday of every month is a cool place to go hang out and listen to a DJ and grab some wine if you want to.
New at 10, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia has now involved the FBI in embezzlement claims at the High Museum of Art. The museum's chief operating officer, Brady Lum, resigned this week after the board discovered the theft of $600,000.
A museum spokesperson alleges they've traced that missing money back to Lum. Fox 5's Rob Dorienzo is at the museum tonight in Midtown to tell us what could come next.
Well, this was an apparent heist inside the High Museum of Art here in Midtown Atlanta, except it wasn't any artwork that went missing. It was $600,000. Now, after a top official has resigned, the FBI is involved. New fallout from the reported six-figure theft from the High Museum of Art.
It's a pity, okay.
George Adamopoulos was visiting the museum all the way from Greece. He was angry to hear about the $600,000 allegedly stolen.
All of these wonderful places has to be protected.
The High Museum's chief operating officer, Brandy Lum, resigned this week. The museum says an internal review traced the missing $600,000 back to him. On Wednesday, U.S. Attorney...
Homeboy took $600,000. I don't know how he felt he was going to get away with 600. 10, 15, 20, probably 50. That Negro went, because I said nigga. I'm going to tell you, that's some nigga shit right there. He went above and beyond. $600K. I'm trying to figure what supermodel in Atlanta got him thinking and smelling himself that he can do this and get away with it, buy the house and probably do some trips and take her some places and it'd be all good. Now, even if he came back and said it was for my kid that was dying, I'm going to say, you got health insurance for that shit, motherfucker. Oh, no. In this situation right here, they need to drag him out. See, I think I was about to. I've contributed. We've given. Have we given? We were part of the High Museum's. What is it? Donor, where you become a donor to get tickets and you have access for the whole year, stuff like that. I need to make sure my money got to where it was sent to. You know.
Theodore Herzberg told Fox 5, quote, "We received a referral from the Woodruff Art Center's attorneys yesterday and relate it to the Federal Bureau of Investigation for review."
The big question everybody has right now is whether this case is big enough for the feds to take it.
Joshua Schiffer is a criminal defense attorney based here in Atlanta. He says this could go a few routes.
$600,000 sounds like a lot of money, but in federal court, it's just different.
Schiffer says typically the feds handle cases in the millions, but this could be an exception because of the museum's significance.
Certainly, the High Museum of Art holding such an important place in our community is going to weigh in on that decision, and I won't be surprised if that's why the federal government eventually accepts the case for prosecution.
The FBI would not confirm or deny it was investigating. We've not been able to reach Lum for comment, but Attorney Schiffer commended Woodruff Art Center's leadership for acting quickly after they noticed something wasn't right.
I'm really satisfied and encouraged that the board of the High Museum has effective processes.
I'm going to bring you up to speed. They had to pay for the lawn to get cut, the windows to get cleaned, and they had to bring out the food in the cafeteria and pay for it. And somebody was like, the money's coming up short. What's going on? We can't pay the lawn guy. Oh, no. I'm telling you, they had to pay the electric bill, and the electric bill was coming up short. See, you don't notice this shit is happening until you can't really pay your bills. You're like, where the hell the money going? It wasn't like they noticed something very like, oh my goodness, something's really going on here. I don't know. Nah, they got bank. They had to pay the bills, and they like, what the hell the money? What happened to it?
In place that not only reveal these kinds of inconsistencies, but then effectuate a good investigation by a good law firm that produced results that are actionable.
And leadership here at the High Museum says this won't impact day-to-day museum operations, but they have hired an independent forensic auditor to look at their books. In Midtown Atlanta, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
Word to all of y'all, stop stealing people's shit. Just take your hands off of it. If you did it before, walk away, hands up, move to the side. I don't think the feds are going to get involved in it, but I may be 100% wrong. I mean, hundreds of millions, millions and millions. Hey, guys, like, subscribe, follow for more content. I appreciate you guys jumping in the stream. I'm your boy, Leon. This is Real Estate Lunchbox. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at noon, and we're going to be taking it over to Saturday and Sunday pretty soon. We're just putting everything in place. Just want to share the story. Also, if you get a chance, like, subscribe, like I said, but go over to The Real Leon Duncan, where we're going to talk about some of these topics a little bit more in depth, because I love Real Estate Lunchbox and doing it at lunch, but I understand that it's not really, I'm not going to dive as deep into it as I would in the evening later on, talking about some of these subjects, but to bring it to your attention. Guys, see you on the next stream, and be blessed. Remember that Jesus loves you just the way that you are. You made in his image and his likeness. Forget about what these haters got.